Welcome, guys, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Sunrot, this new album, The Unfolding Rope, and more things relating to the metal world. We are starting, with a common questions. Why the band delayed 6 years to release your new a second album? And perhaps, I think this is a common one. And perhaps this pandemic speed up the composition and record process for this new one.
You want to take this?
Yeah. I guess, obviously COVID was a big problem. We had so we started recording it, I guess like late 2018, early 2019, and we ran into some trouble through the year 2019, ended up having to record it again, and we were planning on having it out by like the beginning of 2020, and then 2020 happened and lost a solid 2 years. But then during COVID, we finally decided, since we're not doing anything, and I guess at the time we were more, aware of what COVID was and everything. We were like, all right, let's try to get into the studio and try to start recording it and everything. So we actually recorded it May of 2021, I think. Yeah. Right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So we've been sitting on it for a while.
Yeah, there was a lot of humps too. We had a member change. We had the second time we recorded it, I don't know, something with like the hard drive it was on, like totally shit out. Like this record has almost felt cursed in like the best way. And it's like when we release it, the curse will be like lifted,
Over.
It did take us a long time. We had a lot of bumps in the road. So
yeah.
Okay, Alex is entered to the interview too.
Oh, yeah, Alex.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Alex.
Hey.
My friend.
Where's your face?
There
it is.
Okay. Well, continue with the interview. So, how many difference for you find in? How are the big difference that exists compared to the previous album, the Sonata? Perhaps this is more. But I feel this more anger. This new album is more anger than the previous one. It's more furious. A lot of primitive math influence there, because Ethan always do it in primitive math. Some this kind of stuff, mad, furious into their funeral stuff. But you are more slash, more doom, post, but always furious with this new Unfallen. Perhaps do you have a different approach to describe the sound of this new album?
As someone who came in like after a lot of the music was written, when I first heard it, it definitely felt a little bit, I don't know if y'all would agree with me, but it has a little bit of like a punk edge to it that I feel like is like sort of like bubbled up a little bit more, which I think is pretty cool.
So on Sunyata, so I played drums on that album, but I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to move to guitar real bad. So, we recruited Alex to play drums. And I guess I feel like for this one, for the Unfailing Rope, there's definitely a little bit more of like, I guess, a hardcore influence with it. And I think the songs are definitely a little bit better written than Sunyata was. A little bit more, I feel like that one was a little bit more, we have all these basic songs, let's like try to make it as great as we can, with just our first release. But I think with this one, we definitely put a little bit more soul into a lot of the songs and everything, and a lot more thought. And since it did take us such a long time to write and record, we had a little extra time to really put more influence into it and whatnot. So
yeah, I feel like the first LP, it was like kind of dipping our toes into like who we are. And it was a little bit, it was like, for me, it was a little bit more ethereal and abstract and stuff. And I mean, I love that record. You know, that was our first full length. We put everything we had at the time into it. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. This is a little bit more, it's a little bit more mean. It's a
Yeah.
little bit, it's a little bit sharper. It's a little bit grittier.
And I think the growing tensions that were like some of the tensions that were happening in the band and just in the world in general at that time. And, you know, I think that definitely helped influence the record a lot more, unlike Sunyata, where, you know, the world was, and the circumstances of our lives were still not great. But, you know, as 2020 came along, I think there was a lot more influence to really create something that expresses what was happening, not just in our lives, but what's happening in the world.
Yeah, a lot of cosmic anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, talking about this subject, no, of leaving influence and feeling what happens internally and externally for the musician, no? Many musicians say that they don't have a direction when writing music and carried away by the feelings that they have in the moment when they create the songs, the album, etc. So for you, how do the parts of producing an album connect with the idea or sensation of it? Could we say that the music is a concept thinking or a concept not thinking? I mean, when you do the music, you create the songs thinking in the four riffs, enter into the song, 3 riffs, so the mathematical aspect to create the song. But at the same time, you are carried away by the feeling, as you told me, as you told Rob, you perhaps the album is this album is more mean because for the pandemic, for these restrictions, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it, Lex.
I mean, please, Rob and Alex and Ross, expand on this, like, because this isn't really an exciting answer, but I think all of that, like, for me at least, as the vocalist, when I'm writing the harmonies and the melodies and the cadence and the lyrics and all, and doing the noise, it's like sometimes I have a big picture in my head, and sometimes it's just like that visceral, in the moment feeling. And I think we do really good in that like, in the moment, the feelings take it away. We're just going from our heart and stuff. But that's just for me as a vocalist.
I mean, I think all musicians, they go from the heart and everything, because sometimes you don't know how a song is going to end up until you just do it. Sometimes not thinking helps in a lot of aspects, you know, because you like psych yourself out. But obviously, like when you have a ground base of what a song is going to be or a structure of some sort, you know, you can step back and really look at it and trim that off a bit. So yeah, I think that yeah. So
yeah, we're not like
both.
I was gonna say we're not like necrophagist or anything. Like we're just kind of playing the stuff that, you know, we're not like I mean we're not like super technically.
Yeah, well.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
But there's always gonna be structure to anything.
Sure.
Even punk songs, you know, they all have some sort of structure to it, you know. And obviously, since we're more our songs are a lot more progressive sounding and there's just a lot happening within it, everything is very mapped out in certain aspects. But I think there's also that that aspect of feeling lost in some ways, because life can make you feel lost, life can be discouraging, and I think that's really cool how that kind of comes together. It's still like it's still on like a linear path towards some sort of goal or anything.
Yeah, I think it definitely mirrors some phases and some feelings of life. Like, you know, some of it is like totally momentary. Like we joke around that like our music is compulsive. Like we just have to make it. Like there's no reason sometimes behind it. It's just like we have to make this music. We have to make this art or we'll fucking go insane. You know, it's just like we want this just abrasive, just path forward through these songs, and we have the feeling and we just try to get that out.
Not to expand too much on it, but I did notice like on this record there's kind of this structure that we come back to a couple times where it's like kind of this venomous angry sound that sort of gives way to like a more lush sort of like, I don't know, maybe not beautiful is not the right word, but like an emotionally charged sort of like somber thing almost. And I feel like sometimes that's you know, a lot of those records about healing and stuff, and I feel like that's kind of the arc that a lot of the songs take. It's like the trauma and then the path
I
forward.
agree.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, two things more about this from this new album. Well, I think three things, because when I read a lot of reviews from the past album Sonata, that is a lot of reviewers say that you are playing something like sludge, doom, post metal, as you said, a lot atmospheric there. But when I hear this unfolding road, it's more like sludge doom, very heavy with heavy tones, with anger movement. Then it's a lot of furious music, because when I hear for the first song for the last song, hey, these people hate the world completely. This is the only thing that I think when I hear. So, but how do you see the aspect of label the band with the incorrect themes? So the reviewers are always trying to put some labels that perhaps is not into the music. So how do you describe the music of the Sunrot? It's sludge, it's doom metal, it's post metal. You top rock, you have more progressive elements now there. So how do you describe all these arrangements into the Sunrot music?
We got shit on the internet because we made a joke about our genre. We called it like
Oh yeah.
compulsive post sludge noise, some shit like that. And a lot of people took it really seriously, but it's kind of just a joke. It's like, I mean, when you hear it, you either connect with it or not. But I mean, you guys have it better.
No, I think that's it. We tried to we like made a joke and we didn't realize we were gonna piss off all these elitists, but like we then had a lot of fun pissing them off because we were like, yeah, we're compulsive post noise power sludge. And like it was just a joke. Like I do think we have like the front facing genre would be like sludge, but there's a lot of elements. I actually think it's interesting when people, you know, because we're just thankful people review shit. Like we love that people even take the time to do interviews or stuff like that. So it's actually interesting for me to see what they hear. You know what I'm saying? Because we all hear shit different. And for me, it's like, I don't know. It's like I don't see genres. I just see like I don't know. I just want it to be abrasive and ugly, and I just want it to mirror the human condition of suffering and healing and hope and hopelessness, like this duality. So I don't really have a genre. I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, we're sludge. We're a sludge metal band. I mean, I guess if you were to really break down some of our songs, I don't think we're necessarily doing anything that's like super groundbreaking, but I do think that we have our own style of doing it, and I think that's what makes us stand out a little bit more. So I think it is kind of hard for us to really pigeonhole us, and you know, like, and plus, like today, there's just so many bands and so many genres that it's all just kind of like configured into one. It kind of doesn't like really matter, but yeah, I don't know. We're just a sludge metal band who like to make as much noise as we possibly can, and
Noise.
And we wanted to influence people in certain ways, and I think we want to just put as much heart into it as we can, you know, while trying to be as true as we can to ourselves, but also trying to make catchy fucking songs. So
I think there's so much overlap too in like a lot of the genres that we get called that it like, not that it doesn't matter, but yeah, I totally agree. It's just fun to see what people say.
yeah.
And it's fun to piss people off on like the Lambgo and Metal Sucks comments. We were just like post noise, doom. Like it's just
There's so many bands. There's so many
really
sludge bands. Like,
yeah, it's fun to
matter.
be trolls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of music into there. That's important. That's important. So, the second thing about this new album is that you are releasing this new Unfallen Rock through prosthetic records because the first one was released by yourself. So how was the enter or transition to do everything by yourself at the first, and now you are with the big supporters like with Becky, Will, that supported everything with the interviews, when a lot of things changes obviously because where you are prosthetic records, prosthetic has a lot of contacts around the world. It's not possible not to take more attention.
Yeah, shout out Becky, Steve,
Shout out Becky.
Will, EJ. Yo, we love Becky so
They're-
much. And we love them all, but just shout out Vile Creature for being our like Papa Bears and directing us through this process of getting signed and stuff. Yeah, I think I'm like a control freak, so I definitely had a good time like with Sonata, like just like I don't know, doing that DIY stuff. But at a certain point, you get a little burnt out. So it was nice to give it to people that we trust. And they're a great team. We couldn't be happier on prosthetic. I mean, they treat us wonderfully. But it's easier. It's easier to get like interviews and reviews and stuff. You know, in the past we'd have to write emails, send stuff. Like I would be up until like 4 a.m, just like with a list, just writing emails and sending stuff. We'd have to make all our own stuff, which we still make most of our stuff, but then we'll cut stuff up for us and make it like real cool. And Becky will write like this awesome shit about us. And so we don't have to write shit, like a lot of shit. So we still do a lot of work, but they just make shit easier. And they're a fucking great team.
It also helps us like sort of, I don't know, like gain access to spaces that were pretty difficult for us before. Like we like places that, we mostly were the only people who talked to us or heard us were in the US, and like, like being able to like talk to, festivals or people worldwide, it's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the third thing about this new album is that you told Rob that the first album you record the drum parts, but now the drum part was recorded by Alex. So how was the change to change the first drummer that you are, now you are the guitar player, now the Alex is completely set up the drums for this new album. How did the thing change for the first to the, especially the drums part?
Like for the recording process or like the writing?
Yeah, or
process?
composing,
Like
composing, recording process, because you did the first drum parts in the first album, but now
Yeah.
Alex did all record, perhaps included their influence into the drum parts. Who knows?
So there were a couple songs that we recorded that I actually wrote the drum parts for, and then I showed Alex. And the newer songs, we all kind of wrote together, like most of the songs off of the new album, we all wrote together as a unit. I mean, well, Alex has a way bigger drum kit than me, so it's a lot louder. I think Alex has just, he's like they're like a little more vicious, I think, with the drums. As to me, I'm not really much of a drummer, to be honest with you. That's why I switched to guitar. But I think Alex has, I think they're a little more willing to do a little bit more than I was, especially since I said, drums were just a secondary instrument to me. I'm not much of a drummer. So I think Alex has a bit better grasp on what they're doing than myself. Whereas with guitar, I have a better grasp on that. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it was before. I just real quick. I mean, I want Alex, they're the drummer, to say stuff, but just from an outside perspective, it was kind of a natural thing, like to have Rob.
Yeah.
Rob is a great guitarist, and Rob and Chris really complement each other. And Rob has more of like this punk minimalist feel, which worked so well. But as we like kind of evolved and added more elements and stuff, Alex has like, they have this like wall of drum pounding like sound.
Yeah.
It works. The evolution was just made a lot of sense for us. I love both their drumming styles, like Rob and Alex, but like yeah, it's almost like Rob set the groundwork and Alex now took it to a next level.
Yeah, I agree.
I think for me personally, like, not that like I've played drums in bands before, but this is like the first band that I've seriously played drums in, I guess. Like I started with guitar and bass before this. And so I kind of like built my style around what it, I guess, what like the band needed, or like Rob's style also, like, I guess, putting my own spin on it or whatever. So
yeah, we've never had a drummer that was just a drummer. We've always had
We
refuse to have like an actual standard drummer. It's always multi-instrumentalist because it works. I don't know. I think it's great because, no offense to drummers, but I think it's great because they're constantly incorporating like bass and stuff like that into their drumming.
True, definitely. I think also like my kit was built around this band. Like I didn't come into it with a set thing. It was like, all right, I'm filling in for Sunrot. Let me throw something together, and then it kind of evolved into what it is now. And I think that, I guess, kind of influences the sound and how I play.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, talking about the drum parts, Alex, and how for you, how different is the album for you in terms of percussion and drums? Did you add perhaps some improvements with new techniques and methods compared to the previous band, the previous work in the band, like Sonata?
I guess, yeah, like I kind of tried to like, I guess, put my own spin on it. Like Rob said, there was a couple songs that like the drums were basically written, but I always try to like just add my own thing, like different fills here, and even that, like, I don't really try to play the same thing twice. Like I'll just do what feels right in the moment, and I think that's like, I guess, part of how I composed all the drum parts. I also find it like helpful for me writing to just like kind of let them naturally do their own thing over time. Like I guess my writing comes through like repetition. So like if something's not working, through just playing it, I'll find something that does and like fits better.
Nice.
I think that.
Nice. Okay. Oh, talking about now from the when I saw the track list from the first album, one song that captured my attention is the one you fit part one, and for this new album you use the part two. So what are you this who came up with the idea to put a second part of the one the fit part two?
We're like Metallica.
Wait, what does Metallica do?
They did Unforgiven 2 and Fast.
Oh, yeah, they did.
No,
You're right.
no. I think me and Chris actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's like kind of me and Chris's little ditty.
Yeah.
Chris writing, me having this idea of having multiple parts. We don't even know when it's going to end. There might be a 3. I don't even know.
There is going to be a 3.
Yeah, I think there is.
Chris just has to write it.
Yeah, so Chris has
Yeah,
Chris
the drive.
is the one who writes it, but I had this idea of having this song that evolves, like that we don't know when it's going to end or how it's going to be, but it stays in the same vein. Like we want to be able to put them together, like maybe even release them like for fun, like all together. But like I just had this, this fun idea of having it evolve throughout each record and staying on this and like having this message that like isn't totally realized maybe until the last one.
Okay. Other aspects about if we compare the both albums is the cover art, because the cover art from the first album is in some ways a little classic because black, white, a little rounds into there. But for this new album, you change completely the subject. You are more colors. You are a photo into there. So who came with the idea of the cover art? Because I think this is a like kind of photo there, but it's more darkness in some way. And I think it's completely is the full face from the sound of the band. As I said in the first one, in the whole question, that there's a lot of madness, a lot of a lot of horror, a lot of furious, a lot of anger people. And when I saw the cover, I discovered this. I will discover this music with the cover art. So who came with the idea? Why do you decide to change the cover art for the first one to the second one?
Well, the I can say the color, prosthetic, they didn't like tell us like, oh, you have to have color, but they suggested it. They were like, hey, I think you guys have like pretty much only done black and white, and like, why don't you see what happens like if you kind of expand and put some color? And we were like, you know what, that'd be a fun kind of idea to do that. And we've always loved Piper. Piper Ferrari did it, and we've always loved her art. So I don't know, I think we all worked on it, but I had this idea, and I think everyone kind of latched onto it and had their own. We kind of like a transformer, like we just like put all our shit together. But for me, my idea was like this like fucked up divine character that was just like disgraced, like a disgraced divine character. I just thought that would be like visually cool, but I think everyone just added their own shit too. Yeah.
Also, like just on like a really logistical level, it's a lot cheaper to print in black and white when we were doing it ourselves.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
So it's, you know, it's like, you know, the labels don't it, so we, you know, they can do that.
Right.
Okay, so into this aspect, now talking about the cover art, so perhaps for the future, perhaps, and as you can see now around the world, there is a movement that like cattle capitation, like big banks, so cattle capitation, Catatona are using the artificial intelligence to do the cover art. So it's more easily now to do it by yourself, everything now with the artificial intelligence. So what is your opinion about now the artificial intelligence is more present in general into the arts? Well, because I said art in general, because as you can see, a lot of software create arts. Now a lot of musician plays with drum machines, bass machines, a lot of mix into the voice. So a lot of artificial intelligence mix into the music. So what's your opinion about this aspect?
Yeah.
You might. I'm kind of I don't know if I would say I'm a fan of it, but I feel like it's kind of inevitable. So like watching it happen is interesting, and I feel like kind of riding with it is sort of the way it has to be with the AI art and stuff. I mean, it sort of opens up, you know, like making art to anyone who has like an idea and can plug in some stuff. It'll never be the same as like somebody illustrating it, or you know, it doesn't to me like replace it, but it is like something that like makes, you know, the more that we're able to realize the things that in our head through technology, I feel like the I don't know, that's exciting to me. It's like pretty democratic, it's pretty open to everyone. It is a little scary. There's kind of like an epistemological, there's kind of like a crisis in what is real or not, you know what I mean? That's a little terrifying. But yeah, I'm not particularly scared of it or feel like we have to push back against it too hard. What about you guys?
I'm like the opposite. I might sound like a boomer, but like, well, when it comes to drum machines and like I don't know, like fake like strings, like I fucking love it. I think it's great. Like one of our favorite bands is Hers, the Hers Collective, and shout out to Hers. They just dropped a new record. They have a drum machine and I love it. But when it comes to AI art, to me that's so different. I might sound like a boomer or a gatekeeper or whatever. I don't give a shit, but I don't particularly like it. I think when you work with an artist, it adds a new element. I think like maybe like making rough drafts through AI would be like really cool. And then having an artist like kind of transform it into, but like also I've heard, and I haven't read too much about it. I've heard some of these AI sites like take from artists without their consent. So I really don't
Probably.
I really don't like that. But if there was like an ethical sourcing of like art, like maybe they're paying artists or something to like take from their style, that'd be cool. I'm never gonna shit on another band like Cattle Decap or anything. Do your thing, do what's right to you. But if we decide, if like my band decided to like do it, I'd push back probably, and I'd be like, nah, I don't want to do it. The AI stuff, but the programming stuff, like audio programming, I think it's cool as hell.
Mm.
I also think like art is, you know, the important part of art and the part that matters is the process, and nothing's going to replace you creating art yourself. You know what I mean? Like typing in whatever it is into the AI thing does not give the like spiritual satisfaction that like making art does. You know, that'll never change.
Well, yeah. Oh, we are very close to end this interview, guys. And for this aspect, what kind of plans the band has for this new album? Perhaps a North American tour, perhaps a European tour, perhaps more videos upcoming, perhaps you promote with a lot of things more, or who knows, a Latin American tour? Who knows?
Oh, I would love to. I'm Argentine, and our other guitarist Chris, he's Brazilian. So like
Okay.
we would love, and Rob, you're Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah.
And so we would love to do some Latin American, some Central American. We want to go to Mexico so bad. Things are really up in the air right now. We have tours starting to get planned, or maybe like in the works mentally or on paper. Everything is pretty much very up in the air, but we do want to make it to Europe maybe next year. This year we really want to focus on the States or Mexico and Canada, just places we don't have to fly to pretty much. And yeah, we have some ideas for some physical art coming out. We're just trying to keep it, we're just trying to express ourselves in any way. So like, there may be some splits coming out, or there may be some art coming out. We're going to try to just tackle it all, and just, we're not a band, unfortunately, who thinks too far ahead. Like, we have all these ideas, and whatever gets done, and we don't know, we're not good with time, like things sometimes, like, but yeah, we're just gonna keep putting out art and music and play shows and tour. Those are the most, important things.
We do have 2 release shows coming up right now. We have one on 4/16 and
No. I think it's
4,
4/9 and
4/11.
4/11, right?
11 and 16.
Oh, 11 and 16.
4/11 in Brooklyn, and then 16 in New Jersey.
Wait, isn't it the other one?
Reverse of that.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
so sorry. 4/11 in New Jersey and 4/16 in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
That's it.
4/11 at QXT's in Newark with Hell and Unhinged, which is Rob's other band, and Keith Chamber, and then 4/16 at St. Vitus in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, with Couch Slut and Quiet Man, which is Ross's other band, and
Ruggy Ruggs.
Ruggy Ruggs, which Ruggy Ruggs is an awesome artist, and I think that's it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, usually, one of the last question, and because you told Lex that Robs is from Costa Rica, so one of the last things is usually the bands are the drinks influence from the American bands, for European bands, etc. And perhaps, Robs, did you use some influence from Costa Rica? Personal
Puerto Rico, really.
Puerto Rico, sorry, Puerto Rico. Perhaps did you use some influence from your country?
Well, so there's not a whole lot of hard punk or metal really in Puerto Rico, too much. There's like, I think most people might know like Hector Lavoe and like Bad Bunny. And those are like 2.
Bad Bunny
I
rules.
think everybody's gonna know that from Puerto Rico. I like a lot of there's this one Mexican hardcore band that I really like, Los Crudos. They're
Yeah.
really good. But maybe like, I guess maybe in terms of there it is. Great record. But not really a whole lot of musical influence so much, I guess. When I do like a lot of salsa and Cuban music and Puerto Rico music and a lot of that, but there's not too much of an influence. I'd say like maybe sort of like cultural wise there's like an influence, because Puerto Rico has been very misrepresentative, especially in this country. And a lot of things that when the U.S. obtained Puerto Rico in the 50s, the U.S. government really suppressed a lot of Puerto Rican culture. And so like in the 50s, you couldn't fly a Puerto Rican flag in the United States at all. It was illegal. So I think, so there's a lot of different people who definitely tried to push back and tried to preserve a lot of Puerto Rican culture during that time. So I think just like for me, the history of Puerto Rico fighting back against imperialism in a lot of ways definitely influences me a lot. I forget the name of the guy. I just read a book by him, but he's actually one of the longest political prisoners of U.S. history or something. He got out like in the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, but he was in jail for like 48 years for protesting the colonization of Puerto Rico. So I think music wise, there's not so much. I do like a lot of Puerto Rican music and everything, but I think just like the preserving of the culture and just being okay with being Puerto Rican or just being from Latin America and having that Caribbean Spanish influence, I think is pretty cool.
Okay. Well, a curious thing is about Chris, and you are from Latin America because you are from Puerto Rico, and Chris.
Well, I'm actually not. My grandparents are from Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're from San Juan.
Chris has perhaps has parents from Brazil. The big country in metal here, because Brazil has import a lot of good bands like Sepultura, Sarcos, Vulcano. So Brazil is more important. And perhaps did you drink some influence to your music from this, but amazing background that Brazil has since the
80s? Chris isn't. Wait, are you talking about Chris or
are you talking about me or Chris?
Rob, because you and Chris create the guitar parts. So perhaps did you drink from the Sepultura, etc.?
So Chris and I, we definitely like a lot of the same bands. I think Chris and I, we definitely have our differences when it comes to music and how we approach our playing and everything like that. I think Chris has a little bit more of a postier kind of feel, and he's got a little bit more riffs to it. Whereas like I like things to be a little bit more structured more, and I kind of think of the song as a whole rather than a part as much as I can, at least. But I think like we both still have a lot of similarities with our guitar playing and everything, that I think that we're both good at just being able to riff off of each other. And I think we're both willing to just like change things up and just work with each other as much as we can, along with the influences of the other members of the band as well. So yeah.
I think one thing Sepultura is really good at in particular is kind of simplifying and like making stuff like really like drive, you headbang to it, you move around to it,
yeah,
that's definitely something that we strive for sometimes. But
I would geek out if we went to South America. That'd be amazing. I still have family. My dad came over here from Argentina. I still have family in Cordoba and Buenos Aires, and it would be awesome. But to just add on, I know that was Rob's question, but just to add on, I don't want any Puerto Rican punks and metalheads to come for us. There is a lot of Puerto Rican metal and punk, but it's underground, right? That's what Rob was saying. It's not in the mainstream, but underground, they're killing it. Every Latin American country, I've heard some good music. But yeah, that's what he was saying. It was more so not in the mainstream, not in the spotlight. It's this underground scene.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true, Lex. That's true. So, well, guys, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. You are all, you are terrific guys. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Your last album is a great one. Killed my brain since the first song to the last song. Really, I love the hate because, as I said in the first question, I denote a lot of influence of Primitive Man because I love that kind of music. Hate, anger. Ethan is a well-known musician when they create these kind of feelings into the music. So, into the congratulations again from this new, amazing album. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American, well, to your new Latin American fans and Metalerium followers?
We love you. We
love you.
For you. We fucking can't wait to see you. Please, keep an eye out for us. Please, we like I said, we all have this rich heritage. Both Chris's parents came from Brazil. My dad came from Argentina. Rob's grandparents came from Puerto Rico. We have so much love in our hearts. Though we're Americans, we have so much love in our hearts for you guys, and we're coming for you, and we're just gonna fucking play some good ass music for you. We can't wait.